Hi, everyone. Joe Chaffee here on this Monday as we approach the midday hour, and we've still got this stubborn marine layer that is hanging in tough over Pennsylvania, much of Pennsylvania except the western part where it's in the 60s there. And it extends into New Jersey, southeastern New York, all of New England and Long Island. You can see temperatures are mostly in the 40s, and then you start to get into some mid 50s and low 60s. That warm front is trying to come up here, and it's very easy to find. If you notice the winds throughout much of the area across New England and on up into eastern Pennsylvania, they're mostly northeast. But then you get into the area south of the warm front, which is probably something like this. You look at what the wind direction is, and the winds from here south are running southwestward. So once that wind shift goes from northeast to southwest, that's where your warm front is. And warm fronts tend to be less defined sometimes than cold fronts. So they have they have these kind of swiggles and dips, and it all depends on the topography, whether you're in a mountain or if it's in a valley. Sometimes the cold air gets trapped in and gets wedged down from New England. So that's kind of what we have going on here. And with respect to how it looks on the satellite loop, we'll take a look at that. We actually have two storm systems at play here. So let me just refresh the loop. And maybe it already is refreshed. Okay, so what we have on the loop is, here's your first storm system that's riding up to the northeast. Nothing too particularly organized. Here's your gale center, by the way. And if you look very closely here on the visible satellite loop, you can see the low-level circulation that is out here and exposed. This is not a tropical system, by the way. It's non-tropical in nature, cold core, and heading up to the northeast. So anything or anyone that tells you otherwise at this point, not happening. Okay, so that's going on to the northeast. Here's that second system that's behind the one that's moving through the northeast now, and this is going to come through with some rain for tomorrow. And when we look at the radar, we can see there's a fairly busy area of showers now moving across Long Island and southern New England. Not too much happening behind that, so there'll be a bit of a break until we get into this area of rain that's back through Illinois and in through Missouri. This is going to translate eastward to bring some rain in here for later on Tuesday into Tuesday night. I don't think it's going to be any kind of straight through event here. There'll be some breaks throughout all of this. And then after that, finally, it looks like we could have the sunshine back for hopefully Wednesday and Thursday. So when we look at the upper air pattern, there's, again, we've been talking about the fact that we have this very busy Pacific jet stream that just is sending one weather system after another. And this is really good, actually, because unlike last year, just as a point of comparison, let me just erase this, and I'm going to put on what was basically the mean flow for last year, and it was more of a trough in the west and a ridge in the east. This was all El Nino induced, and it really didn't vary too much from this. So anytime any weather system developed and swung northeastward in the flow, it weakened. So by the time it reached the northeastern part of the United States, you really didn't have very much with it. The rains were few and far between. Most of the activity was well west and north, and it led to aggravating what was already a long-term drought situation that had developed back in the prior fall. So this is different with the pattern that we're seeing this year, and this is a very positive sign to see all these active weather systems, one after another, of varying strengths. They don't have to all be major storms, and actually none of them have to be major storms. Through a series of minor to moderate events, you can do quite well and improve the drought situation. I think it already has improved from the kind of winter we've had. I think it will continue to improve during the spring, at least with these multiple events that we're going to see in the first half. Now, as we go through later this week, here are the next two weather systems approaching, and that'll be continuing to move to the east. And again, that Pacific jet, very active to some degree. You have a little bit of a blocking low that's off southeast of Newfoundland, so that might favor tracks of these low pressure areas to go by off the mid-Atlantic coast, perhaps. We'll have to see if models go along with this idea or not. But again, you can see how over time, now we're into Tuesday, April 4th, you can see over time how it's one after another coming in to the west and swinging across to the east. Again, the model does want to have a bit of a chilly look to it as we move into the month of April, the first week of the month of April, but I think those are specifics that we leave to the short range, and we'll take a look at what the GFS model from last night has to offer with respect to that. And let me just, we'll get the map up for you here. And we'll put the surface on. Okay, so let me roll back. And what I think is going to happen is you're going to have, here's that first low pressure that's coming through now with the warm front. And this front has been just the bane of our, the pain of the last few days, going back and forth, up and down, up and down. Now we have this next low coming out of the Midwest for Tuesday night into Wednesday. So here's that dry air that comes in for Wednesday and Thursday. You have high pressure building down from the north, and then the next low that comes out of the plains and heads toward the Ohio Valley and passes by, according to the GFS at least, to our south. This is for Friday night into Saturday. Meanwhile, excuse me, just to back it up for the rest of the country, we have a system here the Tuesday that's going to be in New Mexico that produces some significant rain and snow for Colorado and Wyoming, so that's good news, and also into the Central Plains. Another system coming into the Pacific Northwest, and then that one dives down to make perhaps another rain snow event for Colorado right around April Fool's Day, and at the same time low pressure is now moving off the East Coast. Notice, by the way, that there will be a couple of severe weather events to deal with here across the South. One on Wednesday, Tuesday night into Wednesday across Oklahoma and Central Texas, and then in East Texas Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night, and in Eastern Oklahoma extending into Missouri and Arkansas as we move into Wednesday night and Thursday. And then another severe weather event is possible, I think, later Thursday night in portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and southeastern Louisiana. So something we're going to have to watch for. Meanwhile, with the next system that comes out for next weekend, the GFS has been telegraphing perhaps another round of severe weather and heavy rain possibilities for northeast Texas into Arkansas, and eventually into southeast Arkansas, Louisiana, and eastern Texas here. So it looks like a very busy severe weather threat down the road. This one might actually spread some of that into the southeast and possibly even into southern areas of the mid-Atlantic states along, this is now we're looking at April 4th and 5th. So look, the bottom line is with these weather systems coming from the Pacific and moving across the country over the next couple of weeks, we're going to have, we're going to be busy. There are going to be severe weather threats across the southern half of the United States. There's going to be ample amounts of rain, I think, to sustain, to help sustain the drought issue in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states. So that's a good thing. Also now need to address issues out in the Rockies where Colorado has had, there's been very tough conditions in parts of Colorado with a lack of snow and rainfall as well from this winter, as some of you have told me about. So that might get a little bit of relief. And at least from the standpoint of the overall pattern that I'm looking at, it is resembling a typical spring across much of the country, which would be highly beneficial. Okay, busy day today ahead for me, so I have to get ready and head over to FiOS 1 News, which is my daytime job. So I'll be on there. If you're in the Long Island and New Jersey area and you get FiOS 1, you can watch me on their systems, or you can also watch me online at fios1news.com. And of course, there's my website, meteorologistjoechaffee.com, and Angry Ben has all his latest on nycweathernow.com. And you can download my app and subscribe to my forecast. They're just 99 cents a month for New York City, Long Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, Hudson Valley, and Eastern Pennsylvania. And if you've lasted this long, under 10 minutes today, subscribe please to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out with my standing with Google, and you'll get notifications whenever a new video is put up. And it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime. So I really appreciate you subscribing to my YouTube channel, and all my regular YouTube subscribers. Love you guys. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.